It's time to rank the best midfielders in FPL. Welcome to the Gianni Battici YouTube show. Hope you guys are well and you're enjoying pre-season. The midfield positions in FPL this season are perhaps the most difficult to pick because there's so many good options. So we're going to be ranking them today from top tier players, the ones I love the absolute most, players I love, those that I think are worth a punt, those that we have to monitor, that for the watch list, those that may just have a breakthrough season, and of course those that I'm thinking avoid. I'm feeling a little bit meh about some of the picks. So guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, please do hit that like button. But also, if you're enjoying the journey with me pre-season, do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subbed. Thank you guys for all the support pre-season. So look, without further ado, let's have a look who we're going for then. Look, I've got some very big names here on the right-hand side. You can see them. FPL's most popular and most talked about midfielders. We're going to kick off with Eze, who I'm going to put in straight away in the top tier. Guys, I think Eze at 7 million is top tier because I look at how Crystal Palace were under Glasner last season for like the last 4 or 5 months of the season. When Glasner came in, they're a different team than what we knew under Roy Hodgson. And the likes of Eze were so good. If Eze's fit and if Eze stays at Palace, then he's absolutely a shoo-in to my team at 7 million. Set pieces, penalties, attacking threat. Cheaper than Mateta, by the way. Exciting signings like Kamada and Sarr. Yeah, I think Eze is going to cook. He is a top-tier asset. Now, remember, I'm not judging players here necessarily by their footballing standards. These are FPL picks. So I'm not saying Eze is a much better footballer than Saka, for example, if Saka's not in my top tier. I'm saying for FPL Game Week 1, Eze is a pick for me. So let's carry on, shall we, with pick number 2. We've got Dejan Kulusevski. He has been playing number 9 for Spurs in the last couple of games pre-season. Now, this is massive news because what we know when we see Kulusevski as a number 9 is that the goal threat and the assist threat probably increases. He links well with Son. He's a 6.5 mid, and we absolutely love the idea of Kulusevski, I think, being worth a punt, and he's someone that might even make my Game Week 1 team. Let's move on, shall we, to Phil Foden. Where does Foden fit in? Well, look, Foden for many is like, it was a nailed asset. Those that were going without Haaland, we're going to go Foden. But because of Pep's comments about Foden not being quite ready, I think we've probably called a little bit on him. So he's gone from someone like a top tier player, Phil Foden, for me, to a little bit lower than that. So Phil Foden comes in at love. I still think he's a great asset. I still think he's actually a little bit cheaper than he should be. I think Foden should be the same price as Saka. He's 9.5, Saka's 10. I think Foden's still a very good option, despite probably not playing or starting, certainly not playing 90 minutes in Game Week 1. Let's move on, shall we, to Mo Salah. Where would Salah go for you? I think some would say love, but I'm going to have to go with, look, I think Salah is completely top tier, even at 12.5, even under a new manager. I don't think he's going to make my Game Week 1 team, but that's because I can't have Salah and Haaland. It just isn't good for me. But I like Salah so much, and I'm jealous of all those that are going for him. I just don't think I can squeeze him in. But absolutely top tier for Mo Salah. Let's move to another Liverpool midfielder, in Diogo Jota. Now, Jota is playing potentially number 9 Game Week 1. We just don't know, do we? There's so many options, and we don't quite know how ready the likes of Darwin and Gakpo and Luis Diaz on the left will be. I just wonder if Darwin does start the season Game Week 1, then we know he's a brilliant asset in FPL. Minutes are always the big risk with him. So that's why he's not a top tier or a love, but like Kulusevski, out of position, mid-price, mid-playing up, he could be worth the punt. And he's definitely a tempter for me as Jota. We're going to talk throughout. We've got so many players to get through. This is my top 23 midfielders, and we've done 5 of them so far, but there's loads still to get to. So guys, stay with me for this. But first, I just want to introduce a company that I've been working with, and they sponsor today's stream. So that is Sleeper. You've probably heard lots about Sleeper in the last couple of days, weeks. Now, I've got a link in the description. If you download the link and you play the Sleeper game, I'm giving away a PS5 in Game Week 1. Literally off the back of Game Week 1 results, someone in my mini league will win. Now, the Sleeper app, if you use the link in the description, you'll download the app and you'll go straight to my mini league. Now, what is the game? The game is predicting the 10 outcomes of the 10 Premier League games in Game Week 1. It's that simple. Man United, Fulham. You go win, lose, draw. Ipswich, Liverpool. I've gone Liverpool win. I've gone draw for Man United, Fulham. Arsenal win. I've gone for Brighton to beat Everton. No score predictions, just away win, home win, or draw. Scan the QR code on screen now to download the app or follow the link in the description. Get your mobile out, guys. Give it a scan. You're going to love Sleeper. I've also got a mini league running all season, giving away prizes every week of the season, but the overall prize at the end of the season is going to be worth like £1,000. I've got an £8,000 prize pool to distribute to you guys, which is why I'm kicking off with a PlayStation 5 straight off the bat game week 1. Now, as the weeks continue, it's going to get busier and busier and busier. And it's going to be harder to win the weekly competitions. Game week 1, I'm not expecting a couple of hundred in my league, max. Certainly won't be thousands like I expect later in the season. So your chances of winning a PS5 are so much better game week 1 than they will be later in the year. If it's a tie, we're going to have a funky game to judge the winner. It might be a spin the wheel. So guys, do check Sleeper out. They are awesome. But let's continue, shall we, with the tier list, which I'm so excited about. So guys, where were we? We've done Jota. Let's talk about some Forest assets, shall we? So let's put Morgan Gibbs-White in. And let's also put Hudson-Odoi in. We're going to speak about these two together because they're both very good options in the price brackets. 5.5 for Hudson-Odoi, 6.5 at Gibbs-White. I'm feeling a little bit meh about them, and they're not in my team. They're not going to be. And that's partly because I just look at Forest and I see Nuno, the new manager at Forest, who came at the end of last season. And I just see a team that will be really good defensively and keep lots of clean sheets, but might not score many goals. And I don't know if I want to waste an attacking spot on a Forest mid. Chris Wood is arguably a better option. I don't know, he's 6 million forward. But Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs-White, sure, you get pens with Gibbs-White. Not all set pieces now, by the way. It looks like there's been a bit of a change there. And Hudson-Odoi is clearly a very good player. And the fixtures are there for Forest, but I just don't fancy a Forest midfielder, I don't think. So I'm feeling a bit meh about those two. So they're joining at the bottom. But look, let's go to West Ham now because Kudus and Bowen need to be discussed. Kudus, I'm going for breakthrough because I think Kudus, he was amazing last year, don't get me wrong, but I think he's someone that could make a mockery of his price point. He could perform to an 8 million mid, 8.5 million mid all day long. He's good enough. Lopetegui, a bit like Nuno at Wolves. Lopetegui, again, ironically, been at Wolves. Lopetegui at West Ham, also known probably more for defence first. So I'm calming it on Kudus and I'm calming it on Jared Bowen, who goes in on the Mayor level. Bowen is $1 million more than Kudus, which feels like he should be more expensive, but only 0.5 more. And again, I don't know if we're going to get enough goals in the West Ham team to start the season. The fixtures are tough. So let's move away from West Ham and go to Man City. We've spoken Foden, who I love, but what about Jack Grealish? Well, Grealish is, I think, worth a punt. Alongside Kulusevski, alongside Jota, I really like Jack Grealish because he's had a full pre-season and this matters. And Kulusevski, you could say the same. Full pre-season, just game week 1, you think they're going to bang. Now, Grealish, that left-hand side feels like it will be his in the early weeks. And at 6.5 million, Pep, like that's as cheap as he's been at City. And Pep has said he wants him to shoot more. Grealish has said he wants to score more goals. In pre-season, in the US, I remember seeing a quote from Pep which said, I was really happy with him today. He had 4 or 5 shots. That is something that we have to introduce to Grealish's game at City. Like the last couple of seasons he was at Villa, he scored quite a lot of goals and he certainly had more shots. Now, Man City play with the whole control thing, but Grealish needs more goals and more assists, and that's a big part, got to be a big part of his game. And I think that could come this season. So let's see, worth a punt for sure, Jack Grealish at 6.5 million. It's cheap for the best attack, remember, in the Premier League. What about the Arsenal midfielders, though? Because Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli, you might think are all in different positions on this chart. I don't know if they are. Guys, by the way, do like, and if you're not subscribed already, please do hit that subscribe button. I'm not sure if they are different places. I want to cover the Arsenal attack myself, but Saka feels too expensive at 10. Odegaard feels about right at 8.5, and Martinelli, if he's a starter, feels like the bargain. But we don't know if he's going to be a starter because Trossard and Jesus can play on the left-hand side. A year ago, these 3 players were all the same price because the season before that, they all got the same amount of points, pretty much. I still don't know who the Arsenal pick is. For that reason, we're going to put all 3 of them in, but monitor. I think it's a monitor. And I know loads of you will probably be shouting at the screen going, I'm going Saka, he's a great pick. Of course he is. Like, it's Saka. But for me, there's better picks. Saka, the fact that he's such a busy summer. He looked injured at times in the Euros and at the end of last season. Odegaard's had the summer off, and he's 8.5, could be the pick. And Martinelli, purely through value, could be the much better option. In open play, there's not much split in Martinelli and Saka when they both get the same minutes. The problem is they don't get the same minutes, and Saka has penalties. Let's see. I'm monitoring all three. I'm not going any higher on any of them. And I don't think any of them will be in my Game Week 1 team. But maybe I could punt on a Martinelli or a Havertz. I don't know. It's a tough one. Havertz, of course, listed as a striker. Let's move away from the Arsenal mids then and to Cole Palmer. I love Cole Palmer. I want him in my team. I can't get him in my team. At 10.5, he feels expensive, but he's worth it. Look what he did last year. We don't quite know how he's going to work under Maresca. That's the only thing holding me back from putting him top tier. And the reason I don't think he's top tier is also because Nkunku exists. And Nkunku at 6.5 million is such a cheap route to that Chelsea attack. Nkunku feels like a no-brainer. Therefore, for me, he's just straight in my team. So Nkunku there, top tier. Cole Palmer, love. Purely driven by prices, guys. I'm not saying Nkunku's a better asset than Palmer. Clearly, same price, Palmer's going to be in everyone's team. Let's speak about the Palace mids then. We've got Kamada and Sarr. Sarr goes in first, then Kamada. Sarr's coming at 6. Kamada at 5.5. They could have breakthrough seasons because that Palace attack could function so well. It did last season, but it's very different looking. There's no Elise, and then there's these two guys. Let's see how they get on. They're watch list, but they're also potential breakthrough. So eyes on these two because they're proper cheap. 5.5 and 6. Again, they can make a mockery of the price band. Let's move on then to James Maddison. No one's talking about him. He didn't make the England squad. When I look at that Spurs attack and I see Son, Kulusevski, Maddison, players like Basuma, Pedro Porro, none of these players had busy summers. Like they all had a proper pre-season, and I think that might matter. Brennan Johnson. When we look at the top teams, this is the player least hit by the summer. And I think they could start the season really well. And that's why I think I'll go with Son. But if you don't go Son, consider Maddison or Porro or Brennan or Kulusevski. Really good pick, and he's definitely a monitor, possibly a worth the punt. I could have gone one higher there for James Maddison. De Bruyne's meh. I think the price point, the potential move away, although it looks unlikely, the potential injuries, just the fact that he's coming back late after a busy summer, his minutes are going to be reduced. Not for me, De Bruyne, right at the bottom. And then Anthony Gordon, the transfers rumours don't help, but I still love him as an asset. If he stays at Newcastle, I want him in my team. He's close to being top tier if we're guaranteed to stay. 7.5, cheaper than Isak. I want them both. The fixtures is good for Newcastle and he's brilliant. We're going to rattle through the last few. Bailey, guys, could be worth the punt if you're not going Watkins. If you're not going Watkins and want to cover the Villa attack, Bailey, now Diaby's left, is an even better asset as well, by the way. They're probably going to buy another attacking forward. But remember, the transfer window will close a few weeks into the season. And certainly for the start, Bailey looks like a really good punt. Again, summer off. Bruno for Man United, no one's talking about. And again, he's fairly highly owned, around 15%, just because there's loads of Man United players that play the game. But when I look at Bruno, I'm like, oh, yeah, Bruno's a good option. Bruno's on pens. He's had a price reduction. He will play high up the pitch. The fixtures aren't bad. He plays every minute. Bruno's a legit option for our FPL teams, guys, as is Heung-min Son. So I've put Son in there as well, straight into the top tier, Sonny. The summer off really matters, I think, for Spurs. And remember last season, how they started the season so well. So both Son and Bruno straight into my thinking there. And I think Son probably makes my team and Bruno doesn't, but I like both players. Guys, we'll come back for a summary in just a sec, but I want to give a shout out to my YouTube members. You know, I mentioned Sleeper earlier. I'm also going to have a Sleeper League just for my Ultras. And every month there'll be a prize just for my Ultras. There's only about 10, 20 Ultras, guys. If you want to join the Ultras, we've got a WhatsApp group. We speak every day, voice notes, videos. Former winners like Ali Ahangov are in the WhatsApp group. FPL Chai's in there. Come and join as an Ultra for loads of extra content, or just be a squad member to support the channel, but also to ensure I get back to all your comments. My channel members are someone's, you'll know when I do the lives, all mentions from channel members are brought up on screen. They're all discussed. I answer all your questions. I can't guarantee to do that for everyone. So perk of being a member, click the word join below this video if you want to know more. And yeah, as a recap, guys, the Sleeper app. If you haven't already done so, give it a download and play the game. I'm giving away a PS5 in game week 1, and I'll have a separate league for my ultras as well. So there's 2 leagues, but download for the general league this app, and you'll go straight through, play the game. It's just called Pick'em, and you just pick a winner or a draw from the 10 Premier League games in game week 1, and you do it all season. There's a leaderboard, but game week 1, weekend of game week 1, PS5 to the winner. How about that? Guys, if you've enjoyed the show, thank you so much for watching. Let's just conclude then with our players. You can see top tier love, worth upon monitor, breakthrough, and of course the players I feel a little bit meh about. Thank you for supporting as always. On your way out, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. More content. There's a video dropping every day now, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.